I stood at the entrance of the ballroom, watching my own family laugh and toast champagne like I wasn't even there. Honestly, she doesn't belong here anymore. This is a family celebration. My sister-in-law, Vanessa, said it loud enough for everyone to hear, loud enough for me to hear. My 26th birthday party. The one my mother had insisted on throwing at the country club. The one I didn't even want. I clutched my small purse against my chest, feeling the weight of what was inside. Not just my phone. Not just my lipstick. Something else. Something that would change everything in exactly 3 hours. But right now, in this moment, I was just Emily. The family disappointment. The girl who dropped out of law school. The one who threw away her future, according to my father's speeches at every holiday dinner. My brother Marcus walked past me without making eye contact. His wife Vanessa linked her arm through his, whispering something that made him smirk. They joined my parents at the head table, where my mother was arranging gift boxes. Beautiful silver boxes with white ribbons, none of them for me. "Emily, darling, come take a photo with the family," my mother called out, her voice dripping with that artificial sweetness she used when guests were watching. I walked toward them slowly. My heels clicked against the marble floor. Each step felt like walking toward an execution. The photographer positioned us. My father stood stiff beside my mother. Marcus and Vanessa flanked them like royal guards. And me? I was positioned at the edge. Always at the edge. "Smile, Emily. At least pretend you're grateful," my father muttered through his clenched teeth. The flash went off, immortalizing my humiliation. "Now let's get to the gift exchange," Vanessa announced, clapping her hands together. "I'm so excited to see what everyone brought." My stomach dropped. Gift exchange? At my birthday party? My mother started distributing the silver boxes. One to my father, one to Marcus, one to Vanessa, one to my Aunt Patricia, one to my cousin James. I stood there empty-handed, watching everyone else receive beautifully wrapped presents at my own birthday celebration. "Mom?" My voice came out smaller than I intended. "What about— Oh, Emily, don't be selfish. These are gifts from you to the family. We thought it would be nice since you never contribute anything meaningful to this family. The least you could do is show some appreciation for all we've done for you." The room went silent. 30 guests stared at me, waiting for my reaction, waiting to see if I would cry, if I would scream, if I would finally break. Vanessa opened her box first. Oh, how thoughtful. A crystal photo frame. This must have cost, what, $50? My mother opened hers. Cashmere scarf. Lovely, Emily, though I already have several. My father didn't even open his. He just set it aside and checked his watch. I felt something inside me shift. Not break, shift. Like tectonic plates rearranging before an earthquake. "Actually," I said quietly, reaching into my purse, "I do have gifts. Real ones." I pulled out a single envelope, cream-colored, expensive paper. "The kind that means something." My mother laughed. "An envelope? Emily, really? If you're going to give gift cards, at least put some effort." "It's not a gift card." Everyone froze. I never raised my voice. Not at family gatherings. Not anywhere. I held the envelope up, and for the first time all night, I smiled. But before I hand out my real gifts, I think everyone here deserves to know the truth about this family. And about the last 3 years of my life. My brother's face went pale. Vanessa's smile faltered. Because they knew. Deep down, they knew that the girl they'd spent years humiliating had been hiding something. And they were about to find out exactly what. The envelope felt like fire in my hand. 3 years of silence. 3 years of letting them think I was nothing. "Emily, sit down. You're making a scene." My father's voice carried that warning tone, the one that used to make me shrink into myself. Not anymore. "A scene? Dad, you threw me a birthday party and gave everyone else gifts. You turned my celebration into another opportunity to remind me that I'm the family failure. And you're worried about me making a scene?" My Aunt Patricia shifted uncomfortably in her seat. A few guests pulled out their phones, sensing drama. My mother's face flushed red, but she kept that frozen smile plastered on. "We were trying to teach you about gratitude," my mother said softly, playing the victim. Ever since you quit law school, you've been so lost. We thought if you focused on giving rather than taking. I didn't quit law school, Mom. I deferred. There's a difference. Deferred. Vanessa laughed, that sharp, cutting sound I'd grown to hate. That's just a fancy word for quitting. Everyone knows it. You couldn't handle the pressure, so you ran away. And now you're working at some little startup nobody's ever heard of, making what? $40,000 a year? She said it like it was an insult. Like I should be ashamed. I looked at her designer dress. The one that cost more than most people's monthly rent. The diamond bracelet my brother had bought her last month. The way she looked at me like I was something she'd scraped off her shoe. Actually, Vanessa, I make quite a bit more than that now. But we'll get to that in a minute. I turned to address the room. 30 faces stared back at me. Some curious, some uncomfortable, some gleeful at the family drama unfolding. 3 years ago, I walked away from law school. Not because I couldn't handle it, but because I got an opportunity. A friend from undergrad, Daniel Chen, he was building something, a tech company. He needed someone he could trust, someone with business sense and legal knowledge. My father scoffed. Oh, here we go. Another Silicon Valley fantasy. Emily, we've heard this story before. He offered me 3% equity in the company. I continued, my voice steady now, strong. 3% of a startup nobody believed in, including all of you. Do you remember? I tried to tell you about it at Christmas dinner that year. You laughed. You said I was throwing my life away for monopoly money. The memory burned. My father's condescending smile. Marcus calling me naive. My mother crying about what the neighbors would think. Daniel and I worked 16-hour days for 2 years. We slept in the office. We ate ramen. We built something revolutionary, a platform that connected freelance workers with corporations in a way that had never been done before. I saw my brother's expression change. He was a finance guy. He was starting to understand. Last month, I said, letting each word land like a hammer, our company was acquired, purchased by a Fortune 500 corporation for $1.2 billion. The room erupted. Gasps, whispers. My mother's champagne glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. 1.2 billion, I let it sink in. My 3%? That's $36 million. Before taxes, of course. Vanessa's face had gone from smug to gray. My father stood up so fast his chair fell backward. 36? My mother couldn't finish the sentence. After taxes and fees, I walked away with just over $22 million. The silence that followed was deafening. Beautiful, powerful. I held up the envelope again. So yes, I brought gifts tonight, real ones. Because unlike all of you, when I succeed, I actually think about my family first, even when they don't deserve it. My brother found his voice. Emily, we didn't know. You didn't ask. I opened the envelope and pulled out several certified checks. Each one printed on bank paper. Each one very, very real. I had planned to surprise you all tonight, to share my success, to prove that maybe, just maybe, your disappointment of a daughter had actually done something right. I held up the first check. I was going to give Dad $50,000 toward his boat restoration project, the one he's been talking about for 5 years but can't quite afford. My father reached for it automatically, then stopped himself. I was going to give Mom $40,000 for that European river cruise she's always dreamed about. My mother's eyes filled with tears, but not the happy kind. Marcus, I was going to pay off your mortgage. All $380,000 of it. My brother's mouth opened, but no sound came out. And Vanessa? I looked directly at my sister-in-law, the one who started this whole nightmare. I was going to give you $30,000 toward that interior design business you keep saying you want to start but never do. Vanessa looked like she might vomit. Was going to, I repeated. Past tense. Because you know what I realized standing at that door 20 minutes ago? Watching you all laugh and celebrate while excluding me from my own birthday? I tore the checks in half, then in half again. Pieces of paper worth nearly $500,000 scattered across the marble floor like confetti. You don't deserve a single cent. The torn checks lay scattered across the floor like broken promises. My mother dropped to her knees, actually reached for the pieces as if she could tape them back together. Emily, wait. Let's talk about this rationally. My father's voice had changed, softer now, almost gentle. The tone he used when negotiating business deals. Too late for that. Rationally? You want to talk rationally? I laughed, and it sounded foreign even to my own ears. Sharp, cold. Where was rationality when you told everyone at Thanksgiving that I was wasting my potential? When you introduced me to your colleagues as our daughter who's still figuring things out? Vanessa had recovered from her shock. Her face twisted into something ugly. You're being childish, Emily. So we hurt your feelings? Welcome to the real world. Family tells you the truth. Truth? I stepped closer to her, close enough to see the panic in her eyes. You want to talk about truth, Vanessa? Should I tell everyone here the real reason you married my brother? Her face went white. Don't you dare! Or maybe I should talk about where you were last Tuesday afternoon. The Ritz-Carlton downtown, room 1247. Enough! Marcus grabbed Vanessa's arm. His jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscle twitching. Emily, you've made your point. We're sorry, okay? We're sorry. Sorry? The word tasted bitter. You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry about what you lost. My Aunt Patricia stood up, her voice shaking. Emily, honey, I think everyone's emotions are running high. Maybe we should all take a breath and... Sit down, Aunt Patricia. I didn't even look at her. You don't get to play peacemaker. Not after you spent last Christmas telling everyone I was probably in debt. That my little computer job was probably a pyramid scheme. She sat down, fast. I pulled out my phone, fingers trembling slightly as I opened my banking app. I turned the screen toward the room. Let them see the balance. Let them see the numbers that proved everything. 22,847 9 through 19 to my mother made a sound like a wounded animal. I could change all of your lives tonight, I said quietly. Every single person in this family. I could pay off debts, fund retirements, send the younger cousins to college. I could do all of that and barely notice the money gone. Hope flickered across their faces. Pathetic, desperate hope. But I'm not going to. My father moved toward me, hands outstretched like I was a wild animal he needed to calm. Emily, sweetheart, I know we've made mistakes. Parents aren't perfect. We pushed you because we love you, because we want what's best. You pushed me because I wasn't Marcus. The words came out flat, final. Everything I ever did was measured against him. And when I chose a different path, you couldn't handle it. You couldn't brag about me at the country club. Couldn't drop my career into conversations with your friends. So you decided I was worthless. That's not true. My mother was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. We love you, Emily. We've always loved you. You love the idea of me, the version that fits into your perfect family portrait. But the real me, the one who took risks and built something extraordinary, you hated her. You tried to break her. Marcus ran his hand through his hair, that gesture he'd done since childhood when he was stressed. Look, we screwed up. Badly. But we're family. That has to count for something. Family. I tasted the word. You know what's funny? The people who treated me like family these past 3 years weren't related to me by blood. Daniel Chen, my business partner, he believed in me when you didn't. His sister Maya, she helped me move into my new apartment. Celebrated every milestone. Never once made me feel small. I reached into my purse again, pulled out another envelope. This one was different, heavier, official-looking. I had my lawyer draw up papers last week. Before I knew about tonight. Before this disaster of a party. Vanessa's voice was barely a whisper. What kind of papers? The kind that legally establish a family trust. $20 million set aside for the people I consider my real family. Daniel and his parents, who treated me like a daughter. Maya and her kids. The mentors who guided me. The friends who never doubted me. My mother's crying turned to sobs. Loud, ugly, desperate sobs. $20 million, I continued, my voice steady despite the hurricane of emotions inside me. Divided among people who actually loved me, who actually believed in me, who actually showed up. And what about us? My father asked. His voice had no warmth anymore. Just cold calculation. Your blood family gets nothing? I smiled. It felt wrong on my face. Too sharp. Too knowing. I didn't say that. Everyone froze. I could see the wheels turning in their heads. The hope reigniting. The greed reshaping their expressions. I have one more envelope. I pulled it out slowly. Let them watch. Let them want it. Inside this envelope is a cashier's check. Made out to the Harrison Family Trust. That's our name. Our family name. My father licked his lips. How much? $40,000. The number hung in the air. So much money to most people. A life-changing amount. But to them, after knowing I had 22 million, it was an insult. A deliberate, calculated insult. 40. Marcus couldn't even finish. You're giving strangers 20 million and your actual family 40,000? Oh no, I shook my head. I'm not giving you anything. I held up the check so they could all see it clearly. This $40,000 is going to be handed out tonight. To people who deserve it. To people who showed me kindness when I had nothing. To people who matter. Who? Vanessa's voice cracked. Who are you giving our money to? It's not your money. It was never your money. I looked past them, toward the entrance of the ballroom, and that's when he walked in. The valet? The young guy who'd parked my car. The one who'd smiled at me and said, "Happy birthday, miss. Hope it's a good one." The only person tonight who'd acknowledged my birthday before knowing who I was or what I was worth. His eyes went wide when he saw the whole room staring at him. "Hi," I said softly. "What's your name?" James, ma'am." "James Rodriguez. Is something wrong with your car?" "No, James. I just have a question for you." I held up the envelope with the $40,000 check. "How would you like to change your life tonight?" James stood frozen in the doorway, his valet uniform suddenly looking too small, too humble for the spotlight he'd been thrust into. I don't understand, ma'am." "Come here, James." I gestured to him. "Don't be afraid. These people won't bite. They're too busy calculating how they lost everything." He walked forward slowly, nervously glancing at the crowd of designer dresses and expensive suits, at my family's horrified faces. "Emily, what are you doing?" My mother's voice was sharp now. The tears had stopped. The mask had cracked. "This is humiliating." "Oh, now you understand humiliation." I kept my eyes on James. "Tell me, James, how old are you?" 23, ma'am. College? I had to drop out. Sophomore year, my mom got sick, cancer. The bills? He looked down. I work 3 jobs now. Trying to pay them off and save enough to go back? My heart squeezed. I knew that story. Different details, same desperation. "What were you studying?" "Engineering. Mechanical engineering. I wanted to design prosthetics. My little sister, she lost her leg in a car accident when she was 8. The prosthetics available to families like ours, they're not good enough." Behind me, I heard Vanessa scoff. "Oh, please, this is so staged. You probably planted him here." "Shut up, Vanessa." Marcus's voice. Quiet. Defeated. "Just shut up." I turned back to James. "Your mom. How is she now?" "In remission. 6 months clean. But the debt, it's crushing us. $230,000. I've paid off 40 so far, but it's like trying to empty the ocean with a spoon." "And you still smiled at me tonight. Still wished me happy birthday. Even though you're drowning in debt and working until your body breaks." He shrugged. "It's your birthday. Everyone deserves to feel special on their birthday." "Everyone deserves to feel special on their birthday," I repeated louder, looking directly at my family. "Did you hear that? A 23-year-old kid working 3 jobs has more grace than any of you." My father stood abruptly. "This is ridiculous. You're giving money to a complete stranger to spite us? That's not generosity, Emily. That's revenge." "You're right, Dad. It is revenge. But it's also something you never understood. It's called recognizing goodness when you see it." I opened the envelope and pulled out the check. $40,000. Made out to cash, ready to be endorsed to whoever I chose. "James, this is $40,000. I held it where he could see it. "If I give this to you, what would you do with it?" His hands were shaking. That would pay off almost a fifth of my mom's medical debt. It would mean I could maybe cut down to 2 jobs. Maybe take 1 class next semester. Tears filled his eyes. Real tears. Not the manipulative kind my mother had produced earlier. Just 1 class? I asked gently. It would be a start. It would be hope. And that's worth more than you know. I handed him the check. His fingers barely grasped it like he was afraid it would dissolve. That's not all? I pulled out my phone again. I'm going to wire you an additional $160,000. That's $200,000 total. Enough to clear your mother's entire medical debt. James's knees buckled. He actually stumbled. I caught his arm to steady him. Why? He whispered. You don't even know me. Because 3 years ago I was you. Different circumstances, same feeling. And the people who were supposed to help me, the ones who had the means and the connection, they chose to tear me down instead. Emily, stop this insanity right now. My father's voice boomed across the ballroom. You're making a mockery of this family, of everything we've built. Everything you've built? I spun to face him. Dad, you inherited Grandpa's accounting firm. Marcus took over the investment portfolio Uncle Richard set up for him. Mom married into money. None of you built anything from nothing. You just maintained what was handed to you. And you, Vanessa had found her voice again. Venom dripped from every word. You think you're better than us because you got lucky with some tech company? That's all it was. Luck. You didn't earn it. I walked toward her slowly. She backed up a step. Luck? I worked 80-hour weeks for 2 years. I learned to code at night after everyone else went home. I pitched to 63 investors before one said yes. I lived on protein bars and coffee. I sacrificed relationships, sleep, health. While you were getting spa treatments and posting Instagram photos, I was building something real. You still haven't answered the question. My brother's voice cut through. What about us, Em? Your actual family. Do we get anything? I looked at him. Really looked at him. At the brother who used to build pillow forts with me. Who taught me to ride a bike. Who promised he'd always protect me. When did you stop being my brother, Marcus? He flinched like I'd hit him. When did protecting me turn into competing with me? When did you start letting your wife insult me at every family gathering? When did you decide that impressing Dad was more important than loving your little sister? That's not fair. None of this is fair. My voice echoed off the high ceilings. You want to know what you get? Fine, I'll tell you. I pulled out yet another envelope. Thinner this time. Just a single page inside. This is a contract. A legally binding document that I had my attorney prepare. I unfolded it. It states that each of you, Mom, Dad, Marcus, Vanessa, will receive exactly $1 from my fortune. Now, tonight. No more. No less. Ever. I pulled 4 $1 bills from my purse, laid them on the gift table next to the unopened silver boxes. $1 each. That's what this family is worth to me now. My mother made a choking sound. You can't be serious. We're your parents. We raised you, fed you, put you through school, and held it over my head every single day. I signed the document with a pen from my purse. This contract also includes a no-contest clause. If any of you try to sue me, claim I owe you anything, or attempt to challenge this decision legally, you forfeit even the dollar and will be responsible for all legal fees. My attorney assures me it's ironclad. I placed 4 copies on the table, 1 for each of them. Sign it tonight in front of witnesses. Or the offer disappears and you get nothing, not even the acknowledgement of $1. My father's face had turned purple. You vindictive little... Careful, Dad. There are 30 people recording this on their phones right now. Whatever you say next will live on the internet forever. He closed his mouth, but his eyes burned with rage. James still stood beside me, clutching his check like a lifeline. Miss Emily, I don't know what to say. Thank you doesn't seem like enough. Thank you is perfect. I smiled at him, a real smile this time. Use it well, James. Finish your degree. Design those prosthetics. Make your sister proud. I will. I swear I will. He looked at my family one more time, then back at me. For what it's worth, I think you're the bravest person I've ever met. He left quickly, before anyone could change anything. Smart kid. I turned back to my family. So, who's signing first? The silence stretched. Uncomfortable. Thick with resentment and disbelief. Then a voice from the back of the room. I don't think anyone's signing anything. Everyone turned. A man stood in the entrance. Late 50s. Expensive suit, the kind of presence that commanded attention without trying. My mother gasped. Richard? What are you doing here? Uncle Richard. My father's older brother. The one who'd moved to Singapore 10 years ago. The one nobody talked about. The one who knew all the family secrets. He smiled, but it wasn't friendly. I came to wish my niece happy birthday. And to make sure she knows exactly who she's really dealing with before she gives this family anything at all. Uncle Richard walked into the ballroom like he owned it. Maybe he did. I'd never been clear on who actually held the deeds to half the properties in this family. Richard, this is a private family matter. My father's voice was tight, controlled, but I could hear the fear underneath. Private? Brother, there are 30 people here with phones out. This stopped being private the moment your daughter started handing out checks to valets. Uncle Richard's eyes found mine. Hello, Emily. You've grown up. Uncle Richard. I hadn't seen him since I was 16. He'd left for Singapore after some falling out with Dad. Nobody ever told me why. This is unexpected. I'm sure it is. He moved closer, his shoes clicking on the marble. I've been keeping tabs on you, kiddo. Very impressive, that acquisition. Daniel Chen spoke highly of you when I called him last week. My stomach dropped. You know Daniel? I'm an investor. Was an investor. Small stake in your company. 500,000 in the seed round. Made about 8 million on the sale. He smiled. So thank you for that. The room was silent. Everyone processing this new information. But I'm not here about money. Uncle Richard stopped a few feet from my father. I'm here because I got a very interesting phone call from Patricia this morning. She told me about this birthday party, about the gift exchange, about the plan. My Aunt Patricia had gone pale. She was staring at her lap. What plan? I asked. The plan to humiliate you publicly, to make you feel so worthless that when they finally revealed they knew about your money, you'd be so grateful for their acceptance that you'd hand over whatever they asked for. My mother shot to her feet. That's a lie. Patricia, tell her that's a lie. But my aunt couldn't meet my eyes. They've known for 3 weeks, Emily. Uncle Richard's voice was gentle now. Sad. Your father has a friend at the bank where you deposited the funds. He called to congratulate him on his daughter's success. That's how they found out. 3 weeks. The room tilted. The gifts in the silver boxes. Empty. The whole exchange was theater. They wanted to break you down first, make you desperate for their approval, then swoop in, reveal they knew all along, and position themselves as the loving family who was just testing your character. No. The word came out weak. But I knew. Deep down, I knew it was true. My father's silence confirmed it. You've known for 3 weeks? I couldn't breathe. Everything. Every word tonight. It was all calculated? My mother reached for me. Sweetheart, let us explain. Don't touch me. I jerked back. Don't you dare touch me. Marcus had his head in his hands. Vanessa was trying to look innocent, but failing miserably. It wasn't supposed to go like this. My brother's voice was muffled. We were going to surprise you. Tell you we were proud. We wanted you to understand what it felt like. To be dismissed. To be underestimated. By humiliating me at my own birthday party? My voice broke. By making me watch you give each other gifts while I stood there with nothing? That was your idea of a lesson? It was supposed to make the reconciliation sweeter. Vanessa's voice was small. When we revealed we knew, when we told you we were proud despite everything we said, it was supposed to be this beautiful moment. Beautiful? I laughed. It sounded unhinged. You people are insane. Genuinely insane. Uncle Richard moved beside me. Not touching. Just present. I told Patricia this would backfire. I told her you weren't the same girl who left law school. But they didn't listen. Why are you here? My father's voice was hard. Why now after 10 years? Because Emily reminds me of myself. Uncle Richard looked at his brother. She reminds me of the person I was before this family tried to break me too. Before you stole my business ideas and claimed them as your own. Before you turned mom and dad against me. Before you made me choose between my integrity and my family. That's ancient history. It's the same pattern. Uncle Richard's composure cracked. You did it to me. You're doing it to Emily. You can't stand anyone in this family succeeding outside your control. Anyone who doesn't follow your script is a threat. My mother was crying again. We just wanted her to come back. To be part of the family again. The money? We thought if she shared it, if she invested it in family businesses, we could all benefit. We could be close again. Close? I stared at her. Mom, you haven't asked me how I'm doing in 2 years. Not once. You don't know what I like anymore. What I dream about. What keeps me up at night. You only wanted close when you found out I had money. That's not true. Prove it. I pulled out my phone. Tell me one thing about my life right now. One thing that has nothing to do with money or business. What's my favorite restaurant? What book am I reading? Do I have a boyfriend? A girlfriend? A dog? Silence. You don't know. Because you never asked. Because I stopped mattering to you the day I chose my own path. Uncle Richard handed me a tissue. I hadn't realized I was crying. Emily, I have something for you. He pulled out a small box. Not silver. Not wrapped. Just a simple wooden box with brass hinges. Your grandmother gave this to me before she died. Made me promise to give it to whichever grandchild had the courage to walk away from family expectations and build something real. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a letter. In my grandmother's handwriting. And a key. Read it later, Uncle Richard said softly. When you're alone. When you can process everything. What's the key for? I whispered. Her beach house in Mendocino. The one she left to me. The one your father tried to contest in probate. He smiled. It's yours now. Signed over this morning. A place where you can breathe. Where you can decide what family really means. My father exploded. You had no right. That house should have been divided among all of us. She left it to me, legally, explicitly, because she knew exactly what you'd do with it. Uncle Richard turned to me. There's something else in that box. Under the letter. I moved the paper carefully. A photograph. Faded. Old. My grandmother standing next to a young woman in a cap and gown. The woman looked like me. Who is this? Your grandmother's sister. Aunt Dorothy. She died before you were born. Uncle Richard's voice was soft. She walked away from the family in 1952, became a scientist. Never married. Never had kids. Lived on her own terms. The family disowned her. Called her selfish. Said she'd die alone and miserable. I traced the woman's face in the photo. The defiant tilt of her chin. The light in her eyes. Did she? Die alone and miserable? She died at 93. Surrounded by colleagues and friends who loved her. Her research helped develop early cardiac imaging technology, saved thousands of lives. Uncle Richard's eyes were wet. Your grandmother visited her every month for 50 years, in secret, because she knew Dorothy made the right choice. Why are you telling me this? Because history repeats itself. Unless we choose to break the cycle. He looked at my family. These people will never change, Emily. They'll apologize tonight. They'll swear they've learned. They'll promise to do better. And maybe they'll mean it. For a week, a month, but eventually they'll fall back into the same patterns. Because that's who they are. That's not fair, Marcus said quietly. We can change. We want to change. Do you? I looked at my brother. Really looked at him. If I gave you that mortgage payment right now, all $380,000, would you protect me the next time Vanessa insults me? Would you stand up to Dad when he dismisses my choices? Would you call me just to talk, not because you need something? He opened his mouth. Closed it, couldn't answer. That's what I thought. I picked up the 4 $1 bills from the table. Held them up. I'm taking these back. You don't even get the acknowledgement. You don't get the symbolic gesture. You get nothing. I pocketed the bills and the contracts. Emily, please. My mother's voice was desperate. Don't do this. Don't walk away. We're your family. Blood is supposed to mean something. Blood means biology. Mom, family is supposed to mean love, support, belief. And you've shown me tonight, definitively, that you're blood, but you're not family. I turned to Uncle Richard. Thank you for coming, for telling me the truth. Where will you go? He asked. I don't know yet. I looked at the wooden box in my hands, at my grandmother's letter. But wherever it is, it'll be my choice, my life, my terms. I started walking toward the exit, past the guests who'd watched everything, past the tables of untouched cake and champagne, past my own birthday banner that now felt like a cruel joke. Emily, if you walk out that door, you're dead to us. My father's voice echoed through the ballroom. I stopped, turned slowly. Good, because you've been dead to me for 3 years. I just didn't have the courage to admit it until tonight. I left. The cool night air hit my face, and I could finally breathe again. James was still in the parking lot, sitting on the curb, staring at his check like it might disappear. He stood when he saw me. Miss Emily, are you okay? I will be. I surprised myself by believing it. James, can I ask you something? Anything. Your family. When you told them you had to drop out of school, were they disappointed? He thought about it. Disappointed I couldn't finish? Yeah. Disappointed in me? Never. My mom cried and apologized for being sick, like it was her fault. My dad and sister, they told me I was their hero. That sacrifice was the truest form of love. Tears spilled down my cheeks. That's beautiful. That's family, he said simply. My phone buzzed. A text from Uncle Richard. The beach house is empty. Keys are in the box. Go tonight if you want. Sometimes running away is the bravest thing we can do. Another buzz. Unknown number. Emily, this is Daniel. Richard called me. Are you okay? Maya and I are worried. Call us when you can. Or don't. We're here either way. Always. Family. Different kind. Better kind. James, do you have a car? Old Honda, why? How would you like to drive to the beach with a millionaire who just disowned her entire family? I'll pay for gas. And breakfast. And maybe therapy for both of us after tonight. He laughed. Actually laughed. That sounds insane. It really does. I'm in. We walked toward his car, leaving the country club behind. Leaving the ballroom full of people who shared my blood but not my heart. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. My mother, my father, Marcus, even Vanessa. I turned it off. For the first time in 3 years, I felt light. But this story wasn't over. Not even close. Because in my grandmother's box, under the photograph and the key, was something else I hadn't noticed yet. Something that would change everything one more time. James's Honda smelled like coffee and determination. Fast food wrappers in the back seat. A textbook on the dashboard. The life of someone fighting for every inch of progress. You sure about this? He asked as we merged onto the highway. I'm literally kidnapping a millionaire right now. Pretty sure that's illegal even if you're willing. I laughed. It felt good, real. I'm 26. I can make my own kidnapping decisions. The city lights faded behind us. Ahead, just darkness and the promise of ocean. I opened the wooden box in my lap, letting the highway lights illuminate the contents. Grandmother's letter lay on top. Cream-colored paper. Her elegant handwriting. I wasn't ready to read it yet. Too raw, too much. But underneath there was something else. Something I'd missed in the chaos. A USB drive, small, black, with a piece of tape on it labeled in her handwriting, for Emily, when they show you who they are. My hands trembled as I held it. What's that? James glanced over. I don't know yet. I turned it over in my fingers. My grandmother died 4 years ago. She left this for me. Somehow knew I'd need it. She sounds like she was smart. She was the smartest person I ever knew. My throat tightened. She used to tell me that the family wasn't blood. It was choice. I didn't understand what she meant until tonight. James nodded. My abuela says something similar. La familia que eliges es la que te sostiene. The family you choose is the one that holds you up. I wish I'd met your abuela. She'd like you. She likes people who fight back. He smiled. She always said the quietest people have the loudest roar when they finally speak. We drove in comfortable silence for a while. My phone was off, but I could imagine the chaos I'd left behind. The guests spreading the story. The videos going viral. My family scrambling to control the narrative. Let them scramble. Can I ask you something personal? James's voice was hesitant. Sure. That thing your sister-in-law said. About the Ritz-Carlton. Room 1247. Was that real? I looked out the window at the darkness rushing past. Yeah, it was real. How'd you know? I hired a private investigator 6 months ago. The words came easier than I expected. Not because I was looking for dirt. I just wanted to understand why Vanessa hated me so much. Why she worked so hard to turn Marcus against me. And she's been having an affair with my father's business partner. For 2 years. They meet twice a week. Always the same hotel. Always the same room. I felt numb saying it. Marcus has no idea. My father probably does. But admitting it would mean admitting his golden boy's marriage is a sham. Jesus. James exhaled slowly. Why didn't you tell your brother? Because he wouldn't have believed me. Not then. Maybe not ever. I traced the USB drive with my finger. When you're the family disappointment, your truth doesn't count. Even when it's documented. Even when it's undeniable. That's messed up. That's my family. My laptop was in my purse. Always was. Habit from the startup days when work never stopped. I pulled it out, opened it. The screen's glow filling the car. You're not seriously going to look at that now, are you? James sounded worried. My grandmother left this for me 4 years ago. She's been dead all this time waiting for me to find it. Waiting for tonight. I plugged in the USB drive. I'm not waiting anymore. The drive opened. One folder. Labeled The Truth. Inside, dozens of files, documents, photos, audio recordings. I clicked the first document. A letter from my grandmother to me. Dated 2 weeks before she died. My dearest Emily, if you're reading this, it means they've finally shown you who they really are. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I hoped I was wrong. I prayed they'd change. But I knew. Deep down, I always knew. What I'm about to tell you will hurt. But you deserve the truth. You've always deserved the truth. Your father didn't build his accounting firm. He stole it from Richard. Used insider information from clients Richard brought in. Filed patents under his own name. When Richard tried to fight back, your father threatened to expose financial irregularities that never existed. He forced Richard to choose between his reputation and his business. Richard chose his reputation and walked away. Your father got everything. I stopped reading. Looked at James. Pull over. What? Pull over, now! He swerved onto the shoulder. I threw open the door and vomited onto the pavement. Everything from tonight. Everything from 3 years. Everything. James handed me a water bottle from his back seat. Didn't say anything. Just let me breathe. You okay? He asked finally. No, but I need to keep reading. I went back to the letter. Your mother knew. She's always known. She chose the money over the truth. Over family. Over everything that mattered. Marcus doesn't know. He was too young when it happened. He grew up believing your father was a self-made success. He modeled himself after a lie. But you, Emily, you always questioned. Always pushed back. Always saw through the performance. That's why they targeted you. That's why they needed to break you. Because you're the only one who reminds them of what they really are. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped the laptop. Emily, James's voice was gentle. Maybe that's enough for tonight. There's more. Audio files. I need to hear them. You don't need to do this now. Yes, I do. I clicked the first audio file. Dated 3 years ago. Right after I left law school. My father's voice filled the car. Talking to someone on the phone. She's out. Finally out. I knew she'd crack under the pressure. He sounded pleased, satisfied. Now we just need to make sure she doesn't succeed at whatever ridiculous venture she's chasing. Can't have her proving us wrong? Another voice, male, familiar. My father's lawyer. You want me to block her access to the trust fund? Already done. Changed the terms last month. She gets nothing until she's 35 and demonstrates financial responsibility. My definition of responsibility? My father laughed. By then, she'll have given up. Come crawling back, and we'll be there to remind her of all her failures. The recording ended. I sat frozen. The trust fund from my grandfather, the one I'd been counting on to help start the business. My father had blocked it, deliberately, to sabotage me. I had to max out credit cards, I whispered. I had to borrow from Daniel's family. I thought I just didn't qualify yet. I thought it was legal terms I didn't understand. He stole from you, James said flatly. That's theft. Another audio file. My mother and Vanessa. Having lunch. 6 months ago. I still don't understand why we're being so hard on her. Vanessa's voice. I mean, I don't like Emily, but Marcus feels guilty. Marcus will get over it. My mother's voice was cold, calculating. Emily has always been difficult. Always questioning. Always making us look bad with her choices. This is about protecting the family image. But what if her company actually succeeds? It won't. Richard looked into it. He says they're burning through cash. They'll be bankrupt within 6 months. And when Emily comes home broken, she'll finally learn her place. And if they don't go bankrupt? Silence on the recording. Then my mother's voice, barely audible. Then we make sure everyone knows she's unstable, unreliable. We've been laying the groundwork for years. All the comments about her not finishing things, not being stable. If she succeeds despite that, we'll just have to work harder to discredit her. The recording ended. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't process. They sabotaged me. The words felt unreal. For 3 years, actively sabotaged me. James had gone pale. This is evidence. Legal evidence. You could destroy them with this. My grandmother knew. She was recording them, building a case. I scrolled through more files. Bank statements, emails, documented lies. She was going to give this to me when I was ready. When they finally pushed too far. One more file. Video this time. Dated 1 week before grandmother died. I clicked it. My grandmother appeared on screen. In her bed, clearly sick. But her eyes were sharp, fierce. Hello, Emily. My beautiful, brave girl. If you're watching this, I'm gone. And they finally revealed themselves. She smiled sadly. I'm sorry I won't be there to hold you when you learn the truth. But I need you to know something important. She leaned closer to the camera. This family is poison. Has been for generations. They destroy anyone who threatens their control. They destroyed Dorothy. They destroyed Richard. They tried to destroy me when I stood up for them. Her voice strengthened. But you, Emily, you're stronger than all of them. You're what this family could have been if we'd chosen love over power. Tears streamed down my face. Don't forgive them. Don't give them chances. Don't let them guilt you into believing you owe them anything. She pointed at the camera. At me. You owe them nothing. Not money, not time, not your future. Nothing. Use these files however you need. Protect yourself. Protect your success. And know that wherever I am, I'm proud of you. So incredibly proud. The video ended. I closed the laptop. Sat in silence. James said nothing. Just waited. Finally, I spoke. I need to use your phone. Who are you calling? My lawyer. And then a journalist. I looked at the USB drive. At the evidence that could destroy my entire family. My grandmother gave me a weapon. It's time to decide if I'm going to use it. James handed me his phone. For what it's worth? I think your grandmother was right. You're stronger than all of them. I don't feel strong. Strong people never do. They just keep moving forward anyway. I dialed my lawyer's emergency number. She answered on the second ring. This is Emily Harrison. I need you to listen very carefully. Because in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you how to dismantle my family's entire empire. And we're going to do it legally, publicly, and permanently. The beach house could wait. This couldn't. My lawyer, Patricia Chen, no relation to Daniel, was silent for exactly 10 seconds after I finished explaining. Emily, do you understand what you're asking me to do? Destroy them. Legally. Completely. I stared at the dark highway ahead. Can you do it? Can I? Yes. Should you? That's a different question. Her voice was careful. Professional. Once you release this information, there's no taking it back. Your family will be ruined. Publicly. Your father could face criminal charges for fraud and embezzlement. Your mother could be named as an accessory. Marcus might lose everything in the fallout even though he's innocent. He's not innocent. He chose to be complicit. My voice was harder than I'd ever heard it. Every time he stayed silent while Vanessa insulted me. Every time he let Dad dismiss my choices. He chose his comfort over his sister. Okay. Patricia's tone shifted. All business now. I'll need you to send me everything. Every file. Every recording. I'll start building the case tonight. But Emily, I need you to be absolutely certain. Because once I file these documents with the SEC and the state attorney's office, the machine starts moving. And it doesn't stop. How long until it becomes public? 48 hours. Maybe less if the media gets wind of it. She paused. This will be everywhere. Your family's name will be synonymous with fraud. And you'll be the whistleblower. Some people will call you brave. Others will call you a traitor. I don't care what people call me anymore. Good, because they'll call you everything. I could hear her typing. Send me the files. I'll handle the rest. And Emily, get somewhere safe. Your family will come for you when they find out what you've done. I hung up, forwarded all the files from the USB drive to Patricia's encrypted email. Watched the progress bar crawl across the screen. Uploading 47%, 68%, 89%. You really doing this? James asked quietly. Yeah, I really am. No going back after this. There was no going back the moment they decided to sabotage me 3 years ago. I just didn't know it yet. The upload finished. Complete. Done. Now I'm just choosing the ending instead of letting them write it. We drove for another hour in silence. The ocean smell grew stronger. Salt and freedom and new beginnings. My phone was still off, but I could imagine what was happening. Patricia filing motions. Contacting federal investigators. Starting the process that would unravel everything my father had built on lies. Tell me something good, I said suddenly. About your family. About your mom. Something that reminds me good families exist. James smiled. When I told my mom I had to drop out of school, you know what she did? What? She made me my favorite meal. Arroz con pollo. Her special recipe. We sat at our tiny kitchen table, and she told me about her father. My abuelo. He was an engineer in Cuba. Brilliant mind. When they came to America, he worked construction for 30 years because his credentials didn't transfer. Never complained. Never stopped teaching her about math and science at night. His voice softened. She said, Mijo, education isn't about degrees. It's about never stopping learning. Your grandfather never stopped. I never stopped. And neither will you. This is just a different path to the same destination. Tears burned my eyes. That's beautiful. That's family, he said simply. Real family doesn't punish you for life getting hard. They hold you up until you can stand again. We pulled off the highway. Small coastal road, dark except for our headlights. The GPS showed we were close to grandmother's beach house. There's something I need to tell you, I said suddenly. About why I'm really doing this. Why I can't just walk away and let them have their money and their lies. James glanced at me. Okay, it's not just about me. It's about everyone they'll destroy next. I opened grandmother's letter again. Read the last paragraph I'd skipped earlier. Emily, your father has done this before. To Richard, to others. Business partners who trusted him. Clients who believed in him. He takes and takes and takes until there's nothing left. Then he moves on. And he teaches Marcus to do the same. If you don't stop him now, Marcus will become him. Completely. And the cycle continues. Break the cycle, sweetheart. Even if it breaks you to do it. She's right, I whispered. If I take the money and disappear, Marcus learns that manipulation works. That cruelty works. And in 20 years, he'll be doing this to his own kids. Vanessa's already poisoning him. Dad's already molding him. So this is about saving your brother. No, it's about making sure he can't destroy anyone else the way they destroyed me. The way they destroyed Richard. The way they would have destroyed you if you'd gotten in their way. The beach house appeared ahead. Small, weathered, perfect, perched on a cliff overlooking the Pacific. Lights were on inside. I thought it was empty, James said. It was supposed to be. I grabbed my laptop bag. Stay here, let me check it out first. Not a chance. You're not going in there alone. We approached together. The front door was unlocked. I pushed it open slowly. Uncle Richard sat in the living room, drinking tea, looking out at the ocean through massive windows. Took you long enough, he said without turning around. I've been here for an hour. Patricia called me, told me what you're about to do. Are you here to stop me? Stop you? He finally turned. His eyes were red, like he'd been crying. Emily, I'm here to help you finish it, to make sure you have everything you need to bury them so deep they never climb out. He pulled out a folder, thick, official-looking. I've been documenting your father's crimes for 10 years, since he forced me out. I have everything Patricia has, plus more. International fraud, tax evasion, bribery. If we combine our evidence, we don't just destroy him. We guarantee he goes to prison. My hands shook as I took the folder. Why didn't you do this yourself? Because I was a coward. I chose peace over justice, chose running away over fighting back. He stood, faced me directly. But you're not a coward, Emily. You never have been. And I'm not going to let you face this alone. If you help me, they'll come after you too. Let them. He smiled grimly. I've been in exile for 10 years. What else can they take from me? James cleared his throat. I hate to interrupt, but who exactly is going to prison? Because I feel like I should know before I become an accessory. Uncle Richard laughed. Actually laughed. I like this kid. Emily, where'd you find him? He parked my car and was kind to me. Turns out that's all it takes to earn my loyalty now. Smart standard. Uncle Richard handed me the tea he'd been drinking. Drink this. You're going to need your strength. Because tomorrow morning, when Patricia files those documents, hell is going to break loose. And we need to be ready. I sipped the tea. Chamomile. Grandmother's favorite. What happens after? I asked. After they're arrested. After it's all over. What happens to me? You live, Emily. You finally live. Uncle Richard gestured to the ocean beyond the windows. You take your money, your freedom, your truth, and you build something beautiful, something they can never touch, something that proves you were always better than them. Through the window, I could see dawn starting to break, pink and gold touching the horizon. A new day, a new life, and the end of theirs. My phone buzzed. I'd turned it back on without thinking. 53 missed calls. 87 text messages, 1 voicemail from my father. Emily, we need to talk. Now. Whatever you're planning, stop. You don't understand what you're doing. Call me back before you make a mistake you can't undo. I deleted it without listening to the rest. Then I called Patricia. It's me. File everything. Today. I want them arrested by tonight. Emily, are you absolutely... I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Burn it all down. The sun was fully up when the first news alert hit. James's phone buzzed. Then Uncle Richard's. Then mine, which I'd finally turned back on. Breaking. Federal investigation launched into Harrison and Associates accounting firm. Fraud allegations span decade. That was fast, Uncle Richard muttered, scrolling through his phone. Patricia doesn't waste time. It's not just Patricia. I pulled up the news article. My hands weren't shaking anymore. She contacted a journalist friend. Someone who specializes in white-collar crime. They've been sitting on parts of this story for months, waiting for confirmation. The article had everything. Documents, timelines, names. My father's face plastered across every major news site. My phone rang. Marcus, I answered on speaker. What did you do? His voice was ragged, desperate. Emily, what the hell did you do? I told the truth. Something this family's never been good at. The FBI is at the house. They're going through everything. Dad's being questioned. Mom's having a breakdown. He was shouting now. They're saying Dad could go to prison for 20 years. 20 years, Emily. Good. He earned every single one of them. Silence. Then quieter. You did this? You turned him in? Him, Mom, the whole operation. Everyone who knew and stayed silent. Everyone who benefited from stolen money and destroyed lives. I kept my voice steady, including the trust fund he stole from me. The one Grandpa left me. The one Dad blocked so I'd fail. I didn't know about that. I swear I didn't know, but you knew other things. You knew they were sabotaging me. You knew Vanessa was cruel. You knew Dad was manipulating me. And you said nothing. I'm your brother. You were my brother. Past tense. The words hurt less than I expected. The brother I loved died 3 years ago. You just wore his face while becoming Dad's clone. Please. Please, Emily, tell them it was a mistake. That you misunderstood. We can fix this. As a family, we're not a family. We never were. We were just people who shared DNA and a house and a legacy of cruelty. I looked at Uncle Richard, at James, but I found my real family. People who chose me, who believed in me, who didn't need my money to love me. Wait! I hung up. Blocked his number. Then my parents. Then Vanessa's. You okay? James asked. I'm getting there. My laptop pinged. Email from Patricia. Subject line, they're falling apart. I opened it. Emily, your father's lawyer just called. Wants to negotiate. Apparently, your dad is willing to confess to everything if you agree to ask for leniency. He's claiming he was trying to protect the family. That everything he did was for you and Marcus. How do you want me to respond? I typed back, tell him no. No deals, no leniency. Let him face everything he's done. Every stolen dollar. Every destroyed life. All of it. Another email came through. Different sender. Subject, thank you. I didn't recognize the name. Richard Patterson. Ms. Harrison, you don't know me, but your father destroyed my business 15 years ago. Stole my clients. Spread rumors about my work. I lost everything. My company, my reputation. My marriage fell apart from the stress. I tried to fight back. No one believed me. Your father was too powerful. Too connected. Today I saw the news. I cried. For the first time in 15 years, I felt like justice was possible. Thank you for having the courage I didn't have. You saved lives today, including mine. I showed the email to Uncle Richard. He read it silently, then handed the laptop back. There will be more of those, he said quietly. Dozens, maybe hundreds. People your father hurt. People who thought they'd never see justice. Good. They deserve to know someone fought back. My phone rang again. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something made me. Hello? Emily Harrison? A woman's voice. Professional. Clipped. This is Detective Sarah Morrison with the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. I need to ask you some questions about the evidence you've submitted. My stomach dropped. Am I in trouble? No, God, no. You're a witness, a victim, and possibly the bravest person I've encountered this year. She paused. But I need to verify some details. Can we meet? When? Today, now if possible. Your father's lawyer is already building a defense. Claims you fabricated evidence because you're angry about being excluded from the family business. We need your testimony to counter that. He's saying I made it up? Rage flooded through me. Those are grandmother's recordings. Bank statements. His voice on tape. I know. And we believe you. But we need you to come in. Make an official statement. Walk us through everything. Her voice softened. I know this is hard. I know you just wanted them to face consequences. But now you're part of a federal investigation. And that means playing by federal rules. Uncle Richard was already grabbing his keys. Where do we need to be? San Francisco field office. I can have agents escort you if you're worried about safety. We'll be there in 3 hours. I was already packing my laptop. And detective? Tell my father's lawyer that I have more evidence. Evidence I haven't released yet. Audio of him admitting to bribing city officials. Video of him shredding documents during an audit. And testimony from 12 former clients he defrauded. You've been building a case. For 6 months. Since I found out they knew about my money. Since I realized they'd never stop trying to control me, I grabbed grandmother's USB drive. My grandmother taught me to document everything, to protect myself. I just didn't realize I was building their prosecution. Smart woman, your grandmother? The smartest. She knew they'd reveal themselves eventually. She just made sure I'd be ready when they did. We piled into Uncle Richard's car, James in the back, me in front. 3 people bound by truth and trauma and the strange bonds that form when you burn down your old life together. The drive to San Francisco was silent. Each of us processing what came next. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Messages from family friends, from Dad's colleagues, from people I hadn't spoken to in years. Some supportive. You're so brave. Thank you for standing up. Some vicious. How could you destroy your own family? You're a disgrace. I turned off notifications. Closed my eyes. Emily? Uncle Richard's voice was gentle. When we get there, they're going to ask you things that hurt. They're going to make you relive every moment, every humiliation, every betrayal. Are you ready for that? No, but I'm doing it anyway. That's all courage is. Doing the terrifying thing because it's right. James leaned forward from the back seat. For what it's worth? Your grandmother would be proud. My mom would be proud. Hell, I'm proud. And I just met you last night. I laughed. It sounded almost normal. Last night feels like a lifetime ago? Because it was. You're not the same person who walked into that ballroom. He squeezed my shoulder. You're stronger now, freer, and they can never take that from you. The San Francisco skyline appeared ahead, glass and steel and the promise of justice. My phone rang one last time. Patricia. Emily, your father just offered a full confession. Every crime. Every victim. Everything. She sounded shocked. In exchange for one thing. What? He wants to see you. Face to face, before he goes to prison. She paused. You don't have to say yes. The case doesn't need it, but he's asking. I looked at the city ahead, at the FBI building where I'd tell my truth, at the future that waited beyond this moment. Tell him yes. I'll see him, but on my terms. With witnesses, with recording devices, with the full knowledge that nothing he says will change what's coming. Are you sure? He wants closure. He wants forgiveness. He wants me to tell him I understand. I felt something cold settle in my chest. He's going to get the truth instead. The FBI interview room was exactly like the movies. Gray walls, metal table, camera in the corner recording everything. My father sat across from me in an orange jumpsuit. No handcuffs, but 2 agents stood by the door. Uncle Richard sat beside me. Patricia on my other side. Witnesses to whatever came next. Dad looked smaller somehow. Older. The confident businessman who dominated every room I'd ever seen him in was gone. What remained looked almost human. Almost. Emily. His voice cracked. Thank you for coming. I wasn't sure you would. I said nothing. Just stared at him, waiting. I know you're angry. You have every right to be angry. What we did at your birthday, it was cruel. We thought, he stopped. Started again. We thought we were teaching you something. About humility. About family. We were wrong. You were wrong about a lot of things. I know. God, Emily, I know. He leaned forward. But you have to understand. Everything I did to protect this family. To build something lasting. Something we could all be proud of. You stole from Uncle Richard. From your own brother. His face hardened for just a second, then softened again. Playing the role. That was business. Richard would have done the same if he'd had the chance. No, he wouldn't have. Because he's not you. I kept my voice flat, emotionless. You stole my trust fund. Money Grandpa left specifically for me. You blocked it so I'd fail. So I'd come crawling back. I was protecting you from making mistakes. You were throwing away law school for some fantasy startup. That made me $36 million. Silence. He couldn't argue with that number. I worked for everything I have, I continued. Every dollar. Every success. While you sat in your stolen office, running your stolen business, destroying everyone who got in your way. I leaned forward. Tell me, Dad, how many Richard Pattersons are out there? How many lives did you ruin? That's not fair. Business is competitive. Sometimes people get hurt. You didn't compete. You cheated, you lied, you destroyed. My voice rose despite my intentions. And you taught Marcus to do the same. You were turning him into you. Another generation of Harrison men who take everything and give nothing. Marcus is a good man. Marcus was a good man. Before you corrupted him, before Vanessa poisoned him, before he learned that cruelty was just business. I pulled out my phone. Played one of Grandmother's recordings. Dad's voice filled the room. Emily's too soft. Too emotional. She'll never make it in the real world. Better she fails now and learns her place. His face went pale. That was 3 years ago. Right after I left law school. You weren't trying to protect me, Dad. You were trying to break me. Because I scared you. That's not true. I scared you because I saw through you. My control shattered. Because I asked questions. Because I didn't worship you like Marcus did. Because I reminded you of Aunt Dorothy and Uncle Richard, and everyone else you couldn't control. Detective Morrison stepped forward. Mr. Harrison, you said you wanted this meeting to apologize. To explain. So explain. Why did you systematically sabotage your own daughter? Dad looked at me. Really looked at me. And for just a moment, I saw something real in his eyes. Not love, not regret. Something darker. Because she was going to be better than me, he said quietly. And I couldn't allow that. The room went silent. You're smarter than Marcus. Always were. More creative. More driven. More willing to take risks. His voice was hollow now. Empty. If you succeeded, really succeeded, everyone would see that I was the failure, that my success was built on theft and lies, that you were the real talent in this family. Uncle Richard made a sound like he'd been punched, so you tried to destroy me. I couldn't feel my face. Couldn't feel anything. Your own daughter. Because of your ego. I'm sorry. He was crying now. Emily, I'm so sorry. I know it doesn't change anything. I know you hate me, but I need you to know that I loved you. In my own broken way, I loved you. Love doesn't sabotage. Love doesn't steal. Love doesn't humiliate. I stood up. You don't know what love is. You only know possession and control, and you're furious that you never possessed or controlled me. What can I do to make this right? Tell me and I'll do it. I looked at him. This man who gave me life, who taught me to ride a bike, who scared away my childhood nightmares. This man who became the nightmare. You can go to prison. You can serve every year of your sentence. You can lose everything like you made Uncle Richard lose everything. Like you tried to make me lose everything? I moved toward the door, and you can spend those years understanding that your daughter didn't just survive you. She surpassed you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Emily, please. Detective Morrison, I'm done here. He can rot. I opened the door, stopped, turned back one last time. Oh, and Dad, Marcus knows about Vanessa's affair now. I sent him all the evidence this morning. Your golden boy just filed for divorce, cited emotional cruelty and fraud. Turns out she married him for the family money that doesn't exist anymore. Dad's face crumbled. No, not Marcus, too. You destroyed both your children. You just destroyed us in different ways. I walked out. Goodbye, Dad. I hope the view from prison reminds you of everything you lost. The door closed behind me. Uncle Richard and Patricia followed. We stood in the hallway breathing. That was brutal, Patricia said softly. That was necessary, Uncle Richard corrected. My phone buzzed. Text from Marcus. Can we talk? Really talk? I just found out about Vanessa. About everything. I think I owe you more apologies than I can count. I stared at the message. My finger hovered over the keyboard. What are you going to say? Uncle Richard asked. I don't know yet. I pocketed the phone. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. Maybe something in between. He's your brother. He was complicit. He was also manipulated. By Dad. By Vanessa. By the whole system. Uncle Richard's voice was gentle. Not saying you have to forgive him. Just saying, maybe he deserves a chance to earn forgiveness. If that's something you can give. I thought about Marcus. About childhood memories before everything went wrong. About the brother who protected me before he learned to protect himself instead. Maybe, I said finally. But not today. Not this week. Maybe not this year. He needs to understand what he lost. What he chose. Who he became. Fair enough. We walked out of the FBI building into afternoon sunlight. James was waiting by the car, reading his engineering textbook. How'd it go? He asked. It's done. He confessed to everything. 23 years minimum sentence. No parole for at least 15. I felt light suddenly, weightless. It's really over. What happens now? I looked at Uncle Richard, at Patricia, at James with his textbook and his dreams and his good heart. Now? I smiled. A real smile. Now I figure out who Emily Harrison is when she's not fighting her family. When she's not proving herself. When she's just free. Uncle Richard handed me the keys to grandmother's beach house. Start there. Rest. Heal. Decide what comes next. What about you? I have some people to call. Some amends to make. Some bridges to rebuild. He hugged me tight. But I'm here, kid. Whenever you need me. For real this time. No more running away. Patricia squeezed my hand. The legal stuff will take months. But I'll handle it. You just focus on living. They left. James and I stood by his old Honda in the FBI parking lot. So, he said, back to the beach house? Actually, I have a better idea. 3 months later. I stood in a small auditorium in downtown Oakland. 50 people filled the chairs. Former employees of companies my father destroyed. Clients he defrauded. Families he ruined. And James, front row, grinning. Thank you all for coming, I began. My voice steady now, confident. 3 months ago, I had $22 million and no family. Today, I have slightly less money and more family than I ever imagined possible. Soft laughter rippled through the crowd. My grandmother left me a letter. In it, she said that family isn't blood. It's choice. It's the people who show up. Who believe in you. Who hold you up when you can't stand. I looked at the faces staring back at me. You're all here because my father hurt you, stole from you, tried to destroy you, and I'm here because I want to make that right. I clicked a remote. A presentation appeared on the screen behind me. The Harrison Restoration Fund. I'm establishing a $10 million fund to compensate everyone my father harmed. It won't erase what happened, but it's a start. I advanced the slide. Additionally, I'm funding full scholarships for the children of affected families. Education, medical expenses. Business restart capital. Whatever you need to rebuild. A woman in the third row started crying. Her husband held her hand. My father taught me that success means crushing others. That power means control. That family is something you use, not something you love. I felt my voice catch. Pushed through. But all of you taught me something different. You taught me that surviving cruelty makes you stronger. That rebuilding after destruction is the truest form of courage. That real power is using what you have to lift others up. Richard Patterson stood. The man who'd emailed me months ago. Ms. Harrison, you didn't have to do this. What your father did wasn't your fault. No, but staying silent would have been my choice. And I refused to be silent anymore. I smiled at him. You lost 15 years to his cruelty. I can't give you those years back. But I can make sure your daughter gets the education you couldn't afford. That your business gets the capital to restart. That your family knows someone cares. The applause started small, then grew, then became something bigger than sound. It became validation, healing, hope. After the presentation, people lined up to talk, to share their stories, to thank me through tears. James waited until everyone else had gone. You did good, he said simply. We did good. I handed him an envelope. Open it. Inside was a check and a letter of acceptance. Full scholarship to MIT's mechanical engineering program, starting next semester. All expenses paid, plus a stipend so you don't have to work 3 jobs. I watched his face. Your mom's medical debt is cleared. Your sister's getting a state-of-the-art prosthetic. And your family has a trust fund that'll support them while you finish school. James's hands shook. Emily, this is too much. It's not enough. You showed me kindness when I had nothing to offer you. When you didn't know who I was or what I was worth. That's worth more than money. But money is what I have, so I'm sharing it. I don't know what to say. Say you'll design those prosthetics. Say you'll help kids like your sister. Say you'll be the engineer you were always meant to be. I hugged him. And maybe say you'll visit me sometimes, because you're family now. The real kind. Always, he whispered. You're stuck with me now. My phone buzzed. Text from Marcus. I know you said you needed time. But I'm getting coffee at that place on Telegraph. The one we used to go to as kids. If you want to talk, I'll be here until 5. No pressure, just hope. I stared at the message for a long time. Your brother? James asked. Yeah. You going? I don't know. I pocketed the phone. He filed for divorce. Quit Dad's firm. Started seeing a therapist. He's trying. Really trying. But I don't know if trying is enough. Only you can answer that. I thought about Marcus. About the years of pain. But also about the brother who taught me to swim. Who scared away bullies. Who existed before Dad corrupted him. Maybe I'll go. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll go next week or next month or next year. I looked at James. But it'll be my choice. My timeline. My terms. That's all that matters. Uncle Richard appeared in the doorway. Emily, there's someone here to see you. A young woman stepped forward. Early 20s. Nervous. Familiar somehow. Ms. Harrison? I'm Sophie Patterson. Richard Patterson's daughter. She held out a folder. My dad told me what you did for our family. I wanted to give you this. It's my acceptance letter to medical school. Because of you, I can actually go. I can become the doctor I've dreamed of being. My throat tightened. Sophie, that's incredible. I want to specialize in oncology. Help families like mine who can't afford treatment. Who get buried in debt just trying to survive. She smiled through tears. My dad said your grandmother died of cancer. That she left you everything because she knew you'd do something good with it. I think she'd be really proud. I pulled Sophie into a hug, this stranger who felt like family. Thank you for telling me that. After she left, I walked out into the Oakland evening. The city lights sparkled. Car horns honked. Life moved forward like it always did. Uncle Richard walked beside me. Your grandmother used to say that the measure of a person isn't what they accumulate. It's what they give away. She was right about everything, wasn't she? About most things. She was wrong about one thing, though. What? She thought you needed her letter to be strong. To be brave. To know your worth. He stopped walking, looked at me directly. But you were always that person, Emily. The letter just helped you see what was already there. I thought about the girl who walked into that ballroom 3 months ago, lost, desperate for approval, willing to be hurt just to belong. She was gone now, replaced by someone stronger, freer, more whole. I'm thinking about starting a foundation, I said, not just for Dad's victims, for everyone who's been sabotaged by family, who've been told they're worthless, who needs someone to believe in them. That's perfect. What are you going to call it? I smiled, looked up at the stars barely visible through city light pollution. The Dorothy Foundation, after grandmother's sister. The woman who walked away and built something beautiful. The one who proved that sometimes leaving family is the most loving thing you can do for yourself. She would have loved that. My phone buzzed again. Marcus, still waiting at the coffee shop. I made a decision. Uncle Richard, want to get coffee? With you? Always. Good, because my brother's buying. And it's time we had a conversation about what family actually means, what it costs, what it requires, and whether he's willing to pay the price. Think he will be? I don't know. But I'm finally strong enough to walk away if he's not. We headed toward Telegraph Avenue, toward uncomfortable conversations and uncertain futures and the possibility of healing. Behind me, the Harrison building stood dark. Federal seals on the doors. My father in prison. My mother in a small apartment, living on what remained after restitution. Vanessa disappeared, probably hunting for her next wealthy target. The family empire built on lies had crumbled, exactly as it deserved. But I was still standing, stronger, wiser, free. I thought about grandmother's letter. About Aunt Dorothy. About Uncle Richard and James and Sophie and everyone who chose love over cruelty. About the $40,000 I'd planned to give my family. The money they said I didn't deserve to keep. They were right about one thing. I didn't keep it for myself. I gave it to someone who actually deserved it. Someone who showed me that kindness still exists, that goodness still matters. And in doing so, I found something more valuable than money. I found myself. The coffee shop appeared ahead. Through the window, I could see Marcus. Older, tired, alone. Maybe this conversation would heal us. Maybe it wouldn't. But either way, I'd survive. Because I finally understood what grandmother tried to teach me all along. Family isn't who you're born to. It's who shows up, who believes, who stays. And I had finally found mine.